How wonderful is that? Pretty good stuff. Good morning. Good morning to Sandra. I can see Tony joining us as well. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, we're doing a bit of a sale. We are having a bit of a warehouse clean out. And I thought I would theme the sale to be prebiotics. Why prebiotics? Because your body needs them. Why does your body need them? Because they feed your healthy gut bacteria. They're also a form of fiber. So they create bulk to waste products, so you get regularity in bowel movements. They are also incredibly delicious as well. So you're getting all these wonderful benefits for great gut health, great ability just to keep yourself regular. They can be used in cooking, which is what we do, of course. Inulin powder we use in all sorts of treats, but my favorite way to use inulin powder is either to put them into pickles or into a vinegar tonic. So I've got this amazing prebiotic quality. I also put inulin powder and make my own coconut yogurt. So I've got prebiotic coconut yogurt. It's pretty fabulous stuff. When it comes to our fiber syrup, my gosh, that goes into everything. So fiber syrup, they're both created from inulin. So they're both, one is a powder and the other one is a syrup. Both come from chicory inulin, both incredibly good for your gut, both incredibly good for helping to build that really robust gut microbiome. And we currently got it at 30% off. So there you go, folks. How'd you like that? Good morning to Claudia as well. So that's what we're doing. It is almost the end of the year. So that sale finishes on the 30th of June before, of course, we transition into the brand new financial year. I never could quite understand that. If there's any accountants or people who work in the financial fields who are joining us, could you please explain to me? I'm sure you'll be also assisting some people in the audience too. Why do we have a financial year that starts, on the 7th month of the year? It's all rather confusing, isn't it? It's all rather confusing. Every single time I have to do the accounts with our bookkeeper and our accountant, I've got to be really patient with myself and remembering what these dates are. Like, are we 2024 financial year, 2025, or maybe it's 2026 now? Can never quite work it out. But anyway, that's our sale. We are offering that until we are sold out. So get in as soon as you can. It's basically a good time to stock up, because what it pretty much brings our prices down to, just to give you an idea, let me pull up my store right now. So I'm going to give it to you in Australian dollars, what we're currently selling these products at. So inulin powder was at, this is Australia, $19.50 a bag. It's now down to $13.95 a bag. That's for inulin powder. Fiber syrup, wow, that's a good deal. Fiber syrup was at $16.95 a bottle. It's currently $11.95 a bottle. So it's time to stock up. Great shelf life on these products too. You will use them up way before they expire. Like, there's at least a year on the shelf life on these products. So we're not selling them because they're going to be running out of shelf life soon. We are just doing the whole EFO thing along with the rest of Australia in order to, give you guys some good discounts and also get us in some new fresh product coming in real soon. So good morning to Leanne as well. So today I thought I would discuss with you guys what I am referring to as a bit of a bone emergency. And I guess it's a side effect. Yeah, it is. It's a side effect of what we see now in society, which is the overusage of medical intervention when it comes to weight loss. So I am talking about weight loss drugs, the old Ozempic, the old Wegovy. There's other brands, but they're the most popular ones that are being more commonly used, especially here in Australia as well. But I know there's other brands. But weight loss drugs, so these are the ones where you inject once a week into your tummy region usually, and those drugs are injecting a synthetic hormone into you, which creates loss of appetite, basically. So it's an appetite suppressant style drug. But those sort of drugs have been on the market for a while. So there's another one that springs to mind that was so popular back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and it was a weight loss pill. that doctors were dispensing out to women and to men all over the place, very popular within females. And that weight loss pill was a similar type of thing. It was actually, turns out that weight loss pill has very, very similar effects to speed, which is a class A drug, which basically suppresses the appetite and speeds up the body. Like you become, you're running around like a mad person. So that was really popular. That was, I think it was called Duramine, if anyone remembers the old Duramine back in the days. I just got a question. I've just got to answer this very quickly. When will chocolate be back in stock, please? Having cravings. I get it, Sarah. I get it. Yes, so we are, I'm just working with my chocolatier at the moment to see if we can't offer you guys a different delivery of the chocolate. In other words, I'm looking at getting it delivered rather in granules, but actually getting it delivered in pieces. So makes it a little bit easier to eat, I've got to say. I am working with him at the moment to see if we can have that done. So bear with me. It is on my list of things to do. Absolutely. So yes, there was the old Duramine back in the day, but there's not just weight loss medical intervention. So there's also weight loss surgery that we know, whether it's a bypass, a stomach bypass, or bands that are being put on. So there's been this desire, of course, for a long time for us to lose weight, and often more often now than even 2 or 3 years ago, people are resorting to these extreme methods. And I will qualify that statement of extreme as we're talking throughout today. So there's extreme medical intervention, and I call the use of weight loss drugs like that's the thing. It wasn't even designed. Like Ozempic was not designed as weight loss drug. It was designed to assist people with type 2 diabetes. But it had this effect on weight at the same time. And the weight loss portion of sales when it comes to this drug has completely taken over. So much so that the drug is often in short supply for people who are type 2 diabetic, who could use this type of intervention when it comes to them coming off their weight loss, their insulin injections, and actually getting in control better of their bodies and their health. And what we are noticing is that the weight loss industry has taken over, and more people are getting diagnosed. Sorry, more people are getting prescriptions for weight loss than they are for type 2 diabetes. So as well as that, we also have extreme dieting. So all the fad diets that we see out where weight loss is extreme, or very quick, but not necessarily healthy, not necessarily based in good science and nutrients and knowledge. And we do these fad diets. I've done them before in the past, and I think quite a few of us have done them, because we're always wanting that quick answer, aren't we? We're always wanting the answer. So we are going to be talking about what do I mean when I say bone emergency? What would cause me to use words like bone emergencies when it comes to weight loss drugs, fad extreme diets, and how those weight loss drugs and fad extreme diets could actually be crumbling your bones? And I don't mean that lightly. When I use words like emergency, when I use words like crumbling of your bones, we are talking about quite a dangerous situation that we potentially find ourselves in. If you have used weight loss drugs in the past, or some type of medical intervention, or you're currently using weight loss drugs or some type of medical intervention, or you're doing extreme dieting where you're doing the soup cabbage diet, or maybe you're just eating eggs. There is such a thing called a hard-boiled egg diet. There is such a thing. Can't believe it, but yes. Or you're doing extreme keto, or you could be even just an extreme vegan, or an extreme anything carnivore diet, right? Where you're just doing something that the body's actually not designed to do. So if you're currently doing that, have just come off that, or know someone is doing that, you're going to want to stay and listen to this little podcast this morning. You're going to want to partake in it, because the information that I'm sharing with you guys today has caused me to sound the alarm. It is an emergency, and it's a little bit concerning, I have to say. It's concerning when I consider just the amount of people that are now relying on, especially weight loss drugs. Like, they're building out some of the biggest pharmaceutical factories that are being built. They've probably already been built, actually. They're probably already operating. They're being built for the sole purpose of creating more weight loss drugs. For the sole purpose, because they're making so much money. And we are now really starting to see, and it hasn't been long, these drugs for weight loss have not been around for that long. They've been around for the pharmaceutical health industry for a number of years. But in regards to them being marketed and dispensed and given out to people for weight loss, this is a relatively new phenomenon. Because it's relatively new, we're only now beginning to see the effects of this drug use. And some of these effects are not taking very long to really show up in people's bodies. And one of those effects that I'm talking about is the damage that it's having to your bone health, the damage that it's doing to bone health. So we can either be looking at this solely from an Ozempic weight loss drug point of view, or we can actually tack in all those extreme diet fads that we see everywhere you look nowadays, right? Everywhere you look, or eating disorders, or basically a diet where you're not focusing on the nutrients and you're just focusing on the weight loss. So these are the major major dangers that we are now seeing based on these types of extreme approaches to weight loss, right? So one of the major things that we're now seeing, and like I said, it doesn't take long. There was actually a young lady who went viral online, as you do. I think she had a bit of a following anyway. She wasn't a, I think she was a celebrity, a minor celebrity, but she had obviously. I don't want to say that and do her any disservice, but it wasn't. I'm not talking like it wasn't like the extreme cases we've seen from Ozzy Osbourne's wife, right? Can never remember her name. Someone's going to tell me in the comments. Ozzy Osbourne's wife. What's her name? You guys know. Well, she's one of the people that is quite extremely suffering from her use of weight loss drugs, of Ozempic especially. And so, it wasn't her that came out. It was someone who had less of a public reach, but still had enough that her video that she did ended up going viral. She had been on Ozempic for a year. So she was a 12-month user. She had decided, because she had got down to her weight goal, she had decided to stop taking it after a year. Thought, I'm done, I'm good, I'm at the place that I want to be, happy days, everything's amazing. Young girl, probably early 30s, maybe even late 20s, young girl. When she started on her weight loss journey, she was already quite lean. She wasn't a large girl. She was already quite lean. She didn't have a lot of weight that she wanted to lose, but she had decided for whatever reason that her only course of action was going to be medical intervention through Ozempic. So she started taking Ozempic. A year later, she decided, I'm done, I'm good, I've had enough, haven't been on that long, great, I'm going to go off it. About 3 months after she stopped taking it, she decided to go and visit her healthcare professional to just get a series of tests done to see, just make sure that everything was doing what it was supposed to be doing. She was feeling pretty good. She had managed to keep the weight off, and she was pretty happy. She came straight out of her doctor's and she recorded her very raw reaction to the diagnosis that she had been given. Mrs. Osborne, thank you, Mahi, for that. It's Mrs. Osborne. He's so cheeky. Sharon, thank you, Debbie. Sharon Osborne. I always forget. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe she doesn't look like a Sharon. Maybe she does. I don't know. But I always forget her name. Thank you. I'll call her Mrs. Osborne from now. That's actually probably the best way for me to remember. Thanks for hating. You're so cheeky. So this young lady comes out of her doctor's surgery with her results and is in utter tears, and for very good reason. She is told at her very young age that she has osteoporosis and a number of other conditions within her bones that is basically seeing her bones just breaking and crumbling away. She had the bone density of a very much older woman than herself, a woman that was past menopause, past 70 years old. And obviously she was devastated, absolutely devastated. And she kind of brought to light that there are other side effects to these medical interventions that are not really being talked about as much as they need, definitely not as much as they need to be talked about. And she kind of brought this to the light. Like, we all know about the more immediate side effects of weight loss drugs, especially things like gut dysregulation, issues with pancreases, issues with not being able to, once you go off the drug, that your appetite returns with a vengeance. Like, we know all about this, but this idea that bone density loss was so incredibly rapid, and so irreversible to a certain degree. For her, she's lucky she's young. She has the ability to now look after her bones. But for a woman, especially, who is in her menopausal phase of life, whether she's perimenopausal or even postmenopausal, she's in her perimenopausal phase of life where we lose bone density anyway. It happens with age, and it accelerates during the menopausal period in our lives because of the hormonal dysregulation that happens. Whether you're experiencing extreme symptoms from menopause or not, you will lose bone density during that period. You will lose bone density as you age. Because this young lady was a young lady, her condition or her experience, as horrible as it is nowhere near as worse if you're an older person, if you're an older lady especially, and you're either going through or have been through your menopausal period of life. So if you're an older female and you are on Ozempic, or you're doing some sort of extreme approach to your nutrition, you will not be supporting the health of your bones. It's as simple as that. And if you are on a weight loss drug like Ozempic, especially, or if your diet is so extreme that your gut health is completely neglected, then that bone loss is extremely dangerous. We're talking about a bone loss that is so high that it's actually quite terrifying when we look at the statistics, right? So older women and leaner women are way more at risk, up to 30% more risk of fracture after coming off, or even while you're on one of those drugs or doing that extreme diet. 30% more risk of fracture if you are older, like I'm talking menopausal plus. Perimenopause starts for some women in their 40s. So I'm talking from 40 plus if you're older than 40, and if you're already a little bit on the lean side to start with. Your risk of fracture massively increases by 30%. So in other words, you've lost that much bone density. And for that young lady who came out with that really raw and very, well, obviously emotional video that she came out, she was doing it to warn people that there is so much we don't know about these types of extreme approaches to weight loss. There is so much opportunity for things to go wrong. And I think about people that I know personally that are on weight loss drugs, and I'm terrified for them. They're my age. I'm terrified for them. And they don't have all the facts because not many people do. Not many people have. If you knew, right? But let's be honest. If you knew that if you take that drug, you might lose 10 kilos, but you're also going to lose 30% of your bone density, and you're in your 30s, would that 10 kilos really be worth losing when you consider what the loss that you'd be doing to your bones? So and I'm talking about this, and it's through this rapid weight loss, which means that the bone tissue doesn't get enough nutrients, and the bones just begin to crumble when they don't get, like anything in life. If you don't give it what it needs, it will just start to break away. It'll just start to fade away. But the body's like, oh, okay, guess you don't need these anymore. I'll just stop giving it nutrients. In fact, there's no nutrients coming in at all, or very little. So rather than sending nutrients, the little nutrients that we do have to keep your bones healthy, to keep you from fracturing, to keep you even standing upright, to keep you from not hunching over, because you've got no ability to hold yourself up. Instead of putting nutrients into that, we might as well send the nutrients to where other places, because we actually just really need to keep you alive right now. And that's the risk that is running with these types of extreme approaches. So we've got this very rapid and extremely dangerous breakdown in our bones, right? That's going to happen with age anyway. You combine that with already being lean and not and only needing to lose a smaller amount of weight, and we have just the most dangerous situation that's occurring within our bodies. And for women who are older, your opportunity to regrow your bone mass it's just pretty much not possible, right? It's not possible. So super, super dangerous. So as well as getting this extreme breakdown in bone density, bone strength, the other really dangerous side of this equation that not many people talk about, most are unaware, because if you knew this, I guarantee you, if the person who is injecting something into their body once a week because they want to lose weight, if they actually knew these facts, would they be so keen? Or would they potentially go, you know what, I probably should look at doing this in a healthy way? So the other really dangerous thing, and it's all kind of in the same type of area that we're talking about today, the other really dangerous condition that occurs when extreme dieting and medical intervention is taken over a healthy, nutrient-dense approach. That's why you always hear me talking about nutrient-dense food, right? That's why you always hear me talking about gut health. Always, always, always. Because we're trying to do this in a healthy, managed way. But when you are, especially on these extreme approaches, you don't just lose fat. Because when you want to lose weight, you actually don't want to lose weight. You want to lose fat, right? You want to lose fat, the stuff that is hanging around and doesn't really have a purpose but to make our clothes fill out and make our jewelry stick to our fingers and make us, huff and puff because we're just carrying too much extra weight. So we want to lose the fat. But in actual fact, what we now know is that, and this is the crazy part, for every and I saw the stat in pounds, so I'll give it to you in pounds. For every 6 pounds of fat that you lose, right, 6 pounds is around about, let's say, just to make it easy, it's about 3 kilos, right? So for every 6 pounds of fat that you lose, right, for every 6 pounds, 4 of those pounds, so about 2 kilos, will actually be muscle loss. So you're not just losing fat, you're losing a significant amount of muscle. So this young girl who came out saying, I now have osteoporosis, I have the bone density of a 70-year-old woman, She's very young, very, very young. And she's also has virtually no muscle mass left because she wasn't losing that 10 kilos or whatever it was that she wanted to lose, right? That 10 kilos. So much of that was actually muscle that she lost. Now, again, she has the benefit of youth on her side, so she can go back to work to build back her muscles. It will be a very slow process because not only is she lost all her muscle mass, but she's also lost all her bone density. So it's going to be a very slow process for this 30-year-old woman who now has the body of a 70-year-old woman, right, in her 30s. It's going to be a slow process for her. But if you're already closer to that 70-year-old mark than you are to your 30-year-old mark, and you are doing extreme approaches to dieting, extreme approaches through medical intervention, and you've lost bone density, yes, you have. You absolutely have. If you're doing extreme anything, you've lost your bone density. You absolutely have. Don't go, I wonder if you have, because you haven't done it nutrient dense wise. You haven't done it safely. You've just done it because your goal has been to lose fat. So you've lost bone density, but of course you've also lost muscle mass. Muscle mass, that's the stuff that sticks to your skeleton, right? So because these extreme diets, what they do is they don't give you enough nutrients. Number one, because they don't care. It's not about nutrient density. It's about restricting the amount of food that you eat so that your body starts to lose weight. That's what a calorie restriction extreme diet is, and Ozempic, Wegovy is an extreme calorie restriction diet. It's just done with drugs, and it's done by injecting a synthetic hormone into you that suppresses your appetite. So you're just not eating enough nutrients. You're not eating enough of anything. So yes, you're going to lose weight. We know this. But because you're not eating nutrients, because you're not doing this safely, you're also losing muscle mass. And muscle is way harder to gain back than fat. So you go off the drug and your bone density is now, right, dropped down. Some studies have shown that the lean muscle that you lose can be up to 60% of the entire weight loss. So if you've lost 10 kilos, 6 kilos of that was muscle. Up to 60% of the weight loss when you're doing an extreme approach is muscle. You want muscle. Lean muscle is what you want. Lean muscle is what you need. Lean muscle is what keeps your metabolism burning. So we're getting these really concerning reports coming into us about these types of approaches as they build bigger and bigger factories to create more and more of these drugs. We're going to have a society of people with bones that are 50 to 60 years older than their actual age, than their chronological age. Their bones, their biology is going to be 60 to 70 years older than what their actual age is. So we're getting this massive loss of muscle, up to 60% of your weight loss. We're getting this massive loss of bone density and breakdown of bone tissue in the spine. You know, that's why we get that hunch over, right? Breakdown of bone density in the spine and in the hips, which is another really problematic area, as we know, for people when they age. It's the problem they have with their hips. And you're taking these type of extreme approaches, you are accelerating the process. And if you are older, your ability to gain that back, even muscle mass, is massively, massively reduced. So how does this even happen? Because we know that nutrients, the body needs nutrients, your bones need nutrients. We know this, right? So one of the main ways that this happens is that we don't take in enough nutrients, which means our body doesn't have enough nutrients. Basically, like you're just not putting any fuel into your car, but you're still expecting the car to go chugga down the road. Eventually it's going to stop chugging, isn't it? It's just going to be a complete stop because you haven't put any fuel in. Food is fuel, food is nutrients. And so we're not doing this. A lot of these extreme approaches also don't take in nutrient balance because it's just extreme. It's like, I'm losing weight, I'm doing good, I don't have to do anything else. I'm just going to keep on doing whatever extreme thing I'm doing. I just keep on doing that. It's working, right? I'm losing weight. Yes, you're losing weight, but a lot of that's muscle that you're losing as well. So there's that nutrient deficiency, that nutrient deficient approach, which is really quite obvious. But then there's the other things that are happening that we don't really take into account as well. And the one thing that I'm really talking about when it comes to these extreme fad diets and these injections that is basically messing with your digestive system, right? So we're talking about gut dysbiosis, gut dysregulation. And a lot of that dysregulation is caused by inflammation. So it's a pro-inflammatory response, a pro-inflammatory behavior that is creating real unhealthy, unproductive environment to kind of take over in your gut. So we've got the ability for harmful bacteria to basically take over. So all your good bacteria, bye-bye. And that harmful stuff takes over. And we know what they like to do, those harmful stuff. They like to create inflammation. They kind of live on it, actually. They release pro-inflammatory bacteria whose job it is to create more inflammation. And there's a certain type of pro-inflammatory bacteria that is released in a dysregulated gut. And you know what happens when they're released? They activate certain other bacteria who work to break down bones even further. That's what they do. There's a type of bacteria that actually works on breaking down bones. It thrives on breaking down bones. And when you've got a dysregulated gut, when you've got an unhealthy, unhappy gut that's full of all of these disruptive pro-inflammatory bacteria, some of those pro-inflammatory bacteria also really like to break down bones. So you've got a poor gut health assisting in that breakdown of bone, right? And it's going to happen anyway in older adults. Remember that bone breakdown? And we're just accelerating the process by doing things in a imbalanced approach, right? An imbalanced approach. So you've got gut dysregulation, you've got inflammation, you've got muscle breakdown, you've got bone density breakdown. And when you've got all of that inflammation in your gut, you've also got the inability for your body to absorb any nutrients that are coming through your system. So even if they are coming through, that inflammation from that dysregulated gut means that even if you are getting those really bone critical nutrients coming through, those really good ones for your bones, your body can't even absorb the nutrients because there's so much inflammation going on in that gut. So this will further to weaken the bones, right? I'm talking about calcium. I'm talking about vitamin D. I'm talking about the importance of even like vitamin K and how vitamin K is necessary in the body, right? Because vitamin K's job is to bind calcium to bones. And if you don't have enough vitamin K, because your body's not able to absorb it because your gut is inflamed, all of these things are leading to quite a catastrophic situation happening in your body. And all you wanted to do was lose a bit of weight, right? But I'm going to take this way because everyone else is doing it, and Kim Kardashian did it, and Sharon Osbourne did it, and so did every single one in her family. I think Ozzy was the only one who didn't do it. You know, you've got, oh gosh, who did I see recently who's on it? What's her name? Katy Perry on it. Everyone's on it, right? So everyone's on it, so I'm going to do it. My neighbor's on it, and blah, 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 without fully understanding the consequences of these types of approaches. And I think about some people that I know really well who are on it. And I think about, and they're my age, and I think about the trouble that they're going to run into the trouble they're going to run into. So the other thing we have to be mindful of as well when it comes to these extreme approaches is just the utter hormonal imbalance that you're creating in your body. And if you are of menopausal age, so 40 and upwards, you got low estrogen anyway. High and low, right? So those estrogen crashes that cause our symptoms, like our menopausal symptoms. And then that rapid weight loss will disrupt that estrogen balance even more because the body's now under extreme stress. And it will disrupt those hormones whose job it is to protect bones, protect muscle. So especially the GLP-1 hormones that you find in Ozempic and the weight loss drugs, they will actually increase that bone and muscle wastage just because they mess with the natural balance of hormones in our bodies. Why you can see it's even more dangerous for women within menopausal age, 40 and up, to be taking something like this because of the disruption to hormones where our hormones are already disrupted. So what can we do? Because it's all a little bit scary, isn't it? And I don't mean to scare you on too much, but what can we do? Because we need to know that, firstly, you need to know if you're taking this moment in your life through education, through nutrient balance and density, through understanding more how your body actually works, I'm gonna give you the science to basically let you know that you're doing awesome, right? And that there's actually things that you can do. Even if you're doing boost camp right now, there are things that you can do to help to improve the muscle retention and help to discourage the bone loss, the bone density loss, right? So these are the types of things that you can do. And this is where it all gets very exciting because we do this every day, all the time, right? So one of the things that you can do, and this is really, really, really good for your bones, ladies and gentlemen, is that you can make sure that your diet has lots of prebiotics. It just so happens I've got a sale on prebiotics right now. I do. Funny that. No, it's actually, the timing is, we're going to do it anyway. We've been talking about this since last month, but we have a sale on prebiotics. Why? Because you need them. Did you know you also need them for your bones? I bet you didn't know that, right? So prebiotics, because remember I was talking about one of the roles of bone density breakdown is when we've got a dysregulated gut. Our prebiotics help to balance our gut health. They feed the healthy gut bacteria. So you've got that incredible ability that these prebiotics that we can add into our food that taste delicious. Make sure you're eating your pickles, right? Make sure you're getting some fiber syrup into your day. Make sure you're getting inulin powder, all the things that you've been doing anyway. If you're a Boost Camp member or you've been with BHK for a long time, you're doing this stuff anyway, right? But prebiotics are really important for the health of your bones, for the health of your bones, for not just the health of your bones, but also for the health of you overall. So the way that it does it is that, as we know, prebiotics, inulin especially, which we do, right? Inulin especially, prebiotics feed that beneficial bacteria in your gut. And those beneficial bacteria, one of the side effects of beneficial bacteria is they produce the short chain fatty acids. Remember we talked about this yesterday? I'm going to call him Butte. His name is Butte. It's a good way to remember Butte. And Butte's job is to help the body to absorb calcium, right? It's one of its many jobs. So butyrate, or Butte for short chain fatty acids, which are prolific in a healthy gut that has lots of prebiotics, it helps to absorb calcium. So it keeps your bones nice and strong. So that's one of the ways that prebiotics, especially inulin, does it. Of course, we also have a supercharged prebiotic, which is our Boost Protocol. So Boost Protocol will profoundly impact the health of your gut. It will do it through through a very focused approach when it comes to short chain fatty acids, because two of the bacteria that Boost Protocol especially helps to encourage the growth of is they are like the precursors to creating this butyrate, these short chain fatty acids. So it's a very targeted approach. It's a very targeted approach. So we're talking about it happening in weeks, not in months, right? So when it comes to the prebiotics like our inulin powder and our fiber syrup, these are the type of prebiotics that become part of your food intake all the time. And if you really are concerned about bone density and bone health, then you might want to look into Boost Protocol, because that's going to help it and accelerate that process quite quickly. In fact, a lot of the studies that I'm showing is that if someone is on Ozempic and is on Wegovy and is concerned about bone loss, they should also be on Boost Protocol as well. I mean, I don't think they should be on, you know how I feel about weight loss drugs. But for some people, you can't tell people what to do. You can't tell them what to do. You can give them the information. You can give them the side effects, but at the end of the day, they're going to do what they want to do anyway. So for someone who is on it, my recommendation is that they should also be making sure that they're supporting their bone health at the same time. And, of course, prevent muscle loss. So we've got our prebiotics, which are really important when it comes to protecting our bones, protecting our muscles. We've got our Boost Protocol, which will increase calcium absorption by up to 20%, right? So why wouldn't we just want to get there and make sure that we are absolutely supporting it? Because with Boost Protocol, of course, it's a dose. You're taking a dose. How much do you need? Anything from 5 to 20 grams a day, right? So we've got Boost Protocol there. The other thing that you can look off, because we've got our prebiotics, we've also got to be mindful about our probiotics too. So this is where we're eating this really nutrient-dense approach, right? We're eating anti-inflammatory foods instead of pro-inflammatory foods. So we're making sure that we're getting lots and lots of healthy, diverse bacteria into us every single day through lots of different types of probiotics. And then we're doubling down by making sure we're having prebiotics, which will help to grow that beneficial bacteria environment as well. When it comes to ensuring that you are protecting your bones and your muscles, you also have to make sure that you are prioritizing your protein, that you're not fearing and running away from protein, but you're actually embracing protein. I say protein with every meal in moderation. I'm not saying you need to sit down to a 200, 300 gram steak every meal, but you need to be getting protein with every meal. Now, ideally, that protein is from an animal source, because the protein is just your bones can basically use it and your muscles can use it a little bit better. It just uses it better. But of course, there are some other plant-based proteins which do have a place in this approach too. So whether it's things like fermented tofu, which I love, I actually love tofu as well, or whether it's one of my favorite at the moment, which is our lupini or lupin beans, which are high protein, high fiber, low carbohydrate. We're not fearing and staying away from the protein. We're actually embracing it and making sure we're getting it with every meal. So we've got to make sure we're getting our protein. We've got to make sure we're eating all those wonderful high fiber vegetables. We've got all those different nutrients and probiotics. We're getting our prebiotics in there as well. We've got to be mindful that we're making sure we're getting enough of those bone protecting nutrients, right? So we're getting enough calcium. We're getting enough vitamin D, whether it be through our fatty fish, or we're getting out and getting our 20 minutes of sunlight. We're making sure we're eating lots of chia seeds and sardines in a can, and pretty much all the things you see on a certain program. You know that program, that one I'm talking about, what's that one called? The 28-day boost camp. I mean, I do all this for you guys. You don't have to think about it. I lock it into every meal plan that I produce. I lock it into every meal plan, because this is not just the safe approach. This is the necessary approach. If we're looking at our lives through longevity lenses and not, I just want to lose a bit of weight because I want to fit into that dress. You can do that. Do it on Boost Camp. Absolutely, because it's safe and it's nutrient balanced and it supports your gut health And it prioritizes your protein and your probiotics and your prebiotics and all the things that when you are a boost camper, you don't have to worry about because I do all the thinking for you. And we also make sure that we have that component in here, which is movement, because this is not just, especially when we talk about muscle and bone, this is not just a nutrient deficiency equation. This is also often a lack of movement equation too. So that sedentary lifestyle. Because here's the other thing that I learned recently about, especially I'm going to say it's any extreme, but it's been studied a lot more now because of the popularity of weight loss drugs. One of the more, again, underspoken about, underknown side effects of extreme approaches like Ozempic and Wegovy is that not only are people losing their desire to eat, people are also just kind of losing their desire. So the mental health ramifications of consuming a nutrient deficient diet and a gut inflammatory diet or approach. Because we know 70% of our immune system lives in our gut. So that's how it keeps us from, catching every bug and cold and flu and virus that's going around. But did you know that 90% of the hormone responsible for making you just feel good about life, 90% of that hormone lives in your gut as well. Of course, I'm talking about your serotonin. So when you are messing with your gut through a synthetic hormone that your gut already produces, by the way, when you're messing with your gut by removing it or bypassing your stomach or putting a staple or a band on it, when you are messing with your gut health by not considering the role that gut health plays in your wellness, especially your mental wellness, when you are messing with your inflammatory approach by putting things into your body that cause inflammation to increase, or not putting in the things that cause inflammation to increase, of course you're going to mess with your mental health. So we're, again, now seeing as, this drug goes into its, third or fourth year of popularity for primarily weight loss, we're seeing a massive increase of mental health issues, of sedentary lifestyle issues, because, when you're not feeling the best, probably the last thing you want to do is throw on a pair of trainers and your gym clothes and pop off down to do a group class, right? Pop off down to the gym and have a bit of a workout. Go for a walk in nature when you're not feeling great, when you're feeling a bit anxious or depressed. So we're also now seeing this. Not only are people losing their desire to eat, which in itself is problematic, they're also losing their desire to do other things. So we've got this alarming time ahead of us as these drugs become more and more popular, and they're going to get cheaper too, which means they're going to get even more and more popular. So what can we do? As we said, the best approach is the safest approach. It is the long-term approach. It is the now I feel better and my mental health is improving approach. It's the I'm losing fat and not losing muscle approach. It's that my bones are getting stronger as I age and I am at less risk of fracture approach. This is what we do here. This is why I created Bridget's Healthy Kitchen, to do it in a measured, safe, nutrient prioritized approach. And of course, now we have these products that we also recommend alongside of Boost Camp that is going to help to prevent muscle breakdown, to prevent bone breakdown, right? So this is how, especially how Boost Protocol helps. So we know that Boost Protocol supplementation, whether you're taking even 1 teaspoon a day, 5 grams, but I myself take 20 grams a day throughout 4 different doses throughout the day. But even on 5 grams a day, you're going to get an improvement, right? So we're talking about that boost in calcium absorption. So the body's able to absorb the calcium better by up to 20%. But we're also talking about, and this is a really interesting thing, is that even on very low calcium diets, so Boost Camp is obviously a dairy-free approach. In fact, Bridget's Healthy Kitchen is a dairy-free approach. We do get calcium from other sources. In fact, those sources are way more beneficial than the normal dairy source. But even on low calcium approaches, not saying that Boost Camp is, but if you do have a low calcium approach, the supplementation of Boost Protocol will continue to retain those minerals and those electrolytes needed to make sure that you're not getting that bone breakdown, right? Even on a low calcium approach. But if you're doing Boost Camp and your calcium is balanced, because it is, just know that by the simple addition of a bit of Boost Protocol in your day, you're going to be making sure that your body can absorb up to 20% more calcium than if you didn't have this amazing prebiotic. That's one thing. So we're getting this uptake increase of calcium, which is fantastic. We're also getting this fermentation that happens, especially in the gut, right? That's how Boost Protocol works. It actually ferments in your gut, which is a good thing, right? Fermented foods are great, as we know. And it's this fermentation in the gut which actually lowers the pH level especially in the colon and the large intestine. And when those intestines, the pH is naturally lowered by that fermentation, you're going to get more minerals being able to be absorbed. So it's almost like this absorption's happening by this amazing Boost Protocol doing its job. It's doing its job, which is to help to lower that pH level, which means you're getting better mineral absorption as well, right? I keep on falling in love with it every single day. I'm going to tell you that much. So how does it help when it comes to improving bone density? Well, it does that through that calcium absorption, but it also does it by such a number, such a figure that's really impressive. And the research that I've been looking into shows that it can help to increase bone density by up to 25% by the simple supplementation of Boost Protocol. So yes, we have a bone emergency, but we've actually got something that is going to support the regrowth of bone density. It's going to support the absorption of calcium and minerals through all the good food that you're eating, right? So we've got this double way, and then there's the lowering of the pH level. There's the massive lowering of inflammation, which Boost Protocol does as well, which means that your body is just better able to do its job, the job that it really, really wants to do, which is to absorb all the nutrients from the food that you're eating. So how does Boost Protocol prevent muscle loss? Because again, remember, you can lose for every 10 kilos. It's almost hard to imagine, right? That much could possibly be getting lost, right? So for every 10 kilos, 6 of that kilo could be muscle loss. I mean, it's quite frightening. So how can you prevent muscle loss, which is really important? Because of course, muscle loss, you need lean muscle just to stand up, right? Keep you strong, right? You need the strength, right? So you can actually just get through your day. But of course, muscle is there to help keep your metabolism burning as well. So if you've lost so much muscle and a bit of fat through these extreme approaches, as soon as you go off that diet, as soon as you go off that weight loss drug, you now have a very, very unhealthy metabolism that's just not working for you anymore. So this is how especially Boost Protocol, being that really powerful prebiotic, can help to prevent that muscle breakdown. So it does this by regulating and helping to regulate your hormones. So as it's working as, and Boost Protocol will actually naturally increase your body's own ability to create that GLP-1, which is that hormone that you inject in through weight loss, through Ozempic. Your body naturally creates it, and Boost Protocol will help the body to balance out. So if you are not creating enough, it will actually help to regulate that creation. And if you're creating too much, it will actually help to lower that creation. So it balances it out. And as it's balancing it out, it actually is enhancing the nutrient absorption, as we talked about earlier. It's enhancing nutrient absorption, which means that it is reducing the body's protein and muscle breakdown because it's enhancing nutrient absorption. It balances hormones. So you are getting that appetite suppressant capability, but it's also balancing out nutrient absorption, which means that you're not reducing the protein absorption or the calcium absorption, which breaks things down. You're actually increasing the protein absorption, the calcium absorption, which builds things up. And it's doing this by retaining your lean muscle mass. So it's doing it safely. Again, if you are worried about muscle loss, if you are worried about bone density, I would recommend you look into Boost Protocol as part of your approach when it comes to Boost Camp especially, because it's going to increase your results. It's going to boost your Boost results, which is just amazing. So we're talking about this massive link to gut health. We're talking about this massive link to an anti-inflammatory response. We're talking about this massive link to protein absorption, calcium absorption, nutrient absorption, right? And of course, we're talking about weight loss done safely, where you're losing the weight that you want to lose, which is fat loss. We've got to get out of the habit, me included, of constantly referring to this as a weight loss issue. Honestly, I don't know people who want to lose muscle. You want to lose fat, right? And it's done safely, and it's done in such a way that you are preventing the negative breakdown and you're positively reinforcing the breakdown you want, which is the fat, which is the jiggly stuff, right? Not the muscle. So I'm hoping I've put it into perspective. If you've never seen it, if you've never heard it referred to in that manner, if you've never seen it laid out like that, and the dangers that we have. Now, I don't want to come out and say that weight loss or that Ozempic and Wegovy don't have a place in this world, because under certain circumstances they do. When it comes to weight loss, I'm not in that camp. When it comes to other medical help that it can give for people, I see that there are some benefits to it. So I don't want to come out and say, nobody should take it. I'm not that way inclined, right? I don't know the inner workings of everyone's situation. But just be aware of what you're doing. It's like reading the labels of the food that you're consuming, right? Know what's in your food. Know what's in your weight loss drugs. Know what the side effects are of that extreme diet that you've decided to do because you want to lose 10 kilos before you attend a wedding, right? Know what is required and know whether what is actually you're doing is going to make it harder for you down the track to maintain that weight loss, to maintain your bone health and bone strength, and to just maintain your body strength in general, because we've got to be really, really aware of all those things as well. So I'm just looking, do we have any questions, Mr. Fuliaki? I do see that you are on the thread today. I'm just having a look. Oh, this is so Tracy's saying, yes, Tracy, this is me. I just don't eat and it's not good. It is not good because not eating, not being balanced, as we've just spoken about, will lead to nutrient deficiency. It's one of the reasons why I say we have to be really mindful about even a fasting approach to make sure that you're not over fasting, because again, it can lead to nutrient deficiency and it can lead to, not having enough nutrients, and these are the side effects of not having enough nutrients. I mean, one of the very obvious side effects of not eating enough is that you actually put on weight. Well, how's that possible? when your body goes into a nutrient deficiency and it's imbalanced, so, you are, let's just say you don't eat all day and then you go through the drive-through on the way home. Maybe it's a whatever drive-through. You go through KFC on the way home, right? And you get one meal and you're like, oh, it's not so bad. I've only eaten one meal today. Well, that one meal that you've eaten is so nutrient deficient that you're giving your body something, but you're not giving it what it needs. You're giving it a lot of toxicity and a lot of inflammation, of course, because that's what that food is, as we know. It's toxicity, inflammation. But you're giving your body something that it will hold on to because that's all it's getting. And so rather than it, using it up as energy, it's actually going to hold on to it. It's going to hold on to the fat. It's going to hold on to the inflammation because it doesn't know when it's going to get another meal again. So that approach of imbalance, any time we approach our body in an imbalanced way, whether it's not enough sleep, whether it's not enough water, whether it's too much fat, whether it's too much carbohydrates, whether it's, whatever extreme, too much fasting, whatever it is, our body will struggle through that imbalance. And when our body is imbalanced and it doesn't know what to do, and it's only getting a little bit of something, it actually tends to hold on to that something. And that's why for people who don't do this in a measured approach, actually can find that their weight loss increases despite the fact that they've got a very, very small appetite. So we need to stay balanced. We need to be more aware of these side effects to these approaches. And I would guarantee you this as well, that this is not the end of the side effects when it comes to these types of extreme approaches. More and more things are going to be coming out as people go on and off these drugs, as these types of extreme diets like the carnivore diet, become more and more popular. We're going to see more and more side effects happening. So always be eyes wide open. Anytime you decide to take anything, anytime you decide to start something. I mean, please, by all means, be eyes wide open about Boost Camp. If you've never done a Boost Camp before, ask questions, go into our community, talk to the experienced campers, talk to your healthcare professional. Don't talk to your neighbor. Don't talk to, unless they've been on Boost Camp, right? And they've had great, and you've seen it in them that they've had great success. Talk to someone who's actually experienced in this. Talk to a nutritionist. Talk to a dietitian. Talk to your healthcare professional, right? Make sure that you feel that you are well informed about what to expect. Now, I, of course, stand by our nutrient-dense approach. I stand by our gut health approach. I stand by it. Absolutely. As a nutritionist, as a healthcare professional that I am now, as someone who cares about your health, I want you to do your due diligence. Check it out. Ask, look, research, do whatever you need to do when it comes to this approach we take, which is nutrient-dense, gut health, blood sugar management. That is our approach. I stand by it. Talking about standing by it, I need to go and stand by Boost Camp 6. I know we're only up to Boost Camp 5. I know we are. Here's some images to whet the appetite that I've been working on. There's some. Oh gosh, look at that. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take that off. I don't want you guys to. Where we go? I'm going to take that off. That's just started Boost Camp 5. Nutrient dense, prebiotics, probiotics, protein, fiber, healthy fats. I'm working on Boost Camp 6 today, so I better get into it. So thank you so much for joining me. Again, the more we know, the better decisions we can make for us. The long-term, healthy, sustainable decisions we can make for us. Yes, we've all got a lot to learn, me included. Every day for me is a school day. Every day I like to deep dive into something. I do sometimes get a little bit concerned for us, but not really, because we do have solutions, safe solutions, healthy solutions, long-term solutions. Come and join me on Boost Camp. Make sure that don't forget we've got our end of financial year sale happening now 30% off our sweet as fiber syrup and our inulin, which is fantastic prebiotics that you can put into your cooking. But of course, subscribe to our boost protocol because this is the boost. This is the boost. And yes, it will help to prevent bone loss. It will help to prevent muscle loss. And it will do it safely and it will do it deliciously. And so will I. Thank you for joining me. I've enjoyed spending time with you guys today. Have a fabulous day today and wish me luck. She gets into Boost Camp 6 today. Take care, everyone. Be well and be safe. And we'll see you all really soon back here in my studio. Until then, bye, guys.